Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be here. My name is David Landini. I'm the President of the Riverina Estate Group. We, of course, are advocating estate formation at Riverina. The Riverina Estate Group promotes the prosperity, the wealth and the prosperity of the people in the Riverina. This is currently under many, many challenges at the moment. But on one side of any scale of any wealth creation or any benefit of people, you have the wealth creation and the prosperity on one side. On the other side, you have waste and costs and expenses that make us poorer. And unfortunately today, the Pottinger wind farm is on the side that makes us all, poorer. There's a few things I'd like to raise about this policy. And before I do that, the Hay group of the Riverina Estate, the Hay branch of the Hay members of the Riverina Estate Group have already developed a policy in 2023 about this project, and my speech will be a summary of that policy. First problem with the Pottinger project is that it despoils the natural beauty of the Hay area. We are forced to, when we come to Hay, to view structures that are very, very unnatural in an otherwise very beautiful way, a beautiful area in its own way. All areas have different characteristics, and Hay is renowned for its beauty and its flatness and its sunsets and many other things. So these despoil the visual environment of the area. And is that just my opinion and nobody else's opinion? It is the opinion of many, many people throughout the state of New South Wales, because the proponents of this project mainly don't live here. They live in the urban area of New South Wales, being Newcastle, Sydney and Wollongong. And most of the electricity that's generated goes to Newcastle, Sydney and Wollongong, but they don't build this project in Sydney, Newcastle and Wollongong. And the reason they don't build it there is because it despoils their natural environment. So they despoil our natural environment, but not theirs. So there is obviously a great injustice there. The second problem with the Pottinger project is that it makes electricity much, much more expensive than compared to what we already have. We will pay a lot more personally when we pay our electricity bills, and not only our personal electricity bills, but when we buy any product out of the supermarket, particularly the refrigerated products, the cost of that electricity will be added on to that cost of that product, and that will go right through our whole economy. Now, we had a previous speaker speak about the financial and economic benefits of the Pottinger project, but the reality is that this project will benefit financially a very, very small portion of the population of Australia, and I would say it would be 1% or less. So 1% of just for example, I'll round it out and say 1% of Australia's population will be richer because of this project, and 99% of Australia's population will be poorer because of this project. So that is the second problem with this project. The third problem is that the premise that the Pottinger project is based on is that burning coal in Australia causes catastrophic climate change. Now, this is entirely speculative, based on very, very dubious evidence. The predictions of the disasters by these speculators have all failed to occur. So we can assume that the premise that it's based on is actually false. And further evidence of that is the speculators who make such and such claims in Australia and foreign. They are generally very, very wealthy. They fly in private jets. They travel around in 27 car processions. They burn up much more oil and fuel than we ever will. but they tell us that we can't do that. Which again, of course, is evidence that they actually don't believe what they talk about either. And if they don't believe it, they either don't believe it or they treat us with disdain or both. And for either of those reasons, we should not support that. These structures are not only a visual despoilment of the area, they are also an emotional and mental despoilment. Because every time we drive into this area and we see these large structures, we have to recognise, or we're forced to realise, that these things make us poor. Every spin of that turbine says, I am making you poor and you will suffer. And that creates an emotional and mental anguish in all of us who are forced to see that, and we can't not see it because it's on the Cobb Highway. So in conclusion, I ask that all construction be halted, any construction that's already been completed be deconstructed and returned to sender. And if New South Wales and the federal government are adamant that this must be built, that these structures must be built, then I request sincerely that they be built where the people that want that electricity are. Build them in Newcastle, Sydney and Wollongong, but not here. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker.